Hey guys, welcome to the Open Mat Podcast.
Actually,
What? Yeah, I'm here and I hope you have fun.
Today we want to talk about jiu-jitsu and specifically how it has improved our mental health, how jiu-jitsu can be used as a extremely useful tool in recovery from things like specific traumas and in general anxiety, depression, PTSD, CPTSD. There's actually a story that Master absolutely loves of yours, and I feel like
We're gonna start with that?
oh yeah.
I think we have to start with the backstory first.
All right, let's hear the backstory.
About how I got into the gym.
Yeah,
And where I was before I got
that's
into
the full
gym.
story.
So I started training, let's see, wait, whoa, go back. My kids started training and I couldn't even enter the gym. I used to walk outside behind the glass because it was way too overwhelming. All the people, everything that was going on in there. And Master would always joke like, when are you going to come train? And I was like, this guy is crazy.
it's totally crazy. No worries.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
he's definitely crazy. But so I got to this point where in my life where it was like rock bottom. It was so bad. And I knew I needed to change something, but it was really hard with 3 kids on, you know, how am I going to work out? How am I going to fit that in? And I was like, well, I guess, you know, everyone's been asking, so I'm going to show up on the mat. But
You make that sound like it's an easy thing. That's a huge mental
yeah.
hurdle. That's something that needs to be understood. Yes!
we need the fan. Yeah, so it was definitely a process because I could barely make it through beginner's class. Yeah, so I just remember like every minute like praying like, oh God, please help me get through this class without passing out, without having an anxiety attack. But I kept coming because
What was that for you?
there was something there. I don't know exactly why I kept coming. There was just like, I think I remember like the first submission I learned, the first class, it was like Mount Americana or something like that. One of the very first ones. And there was just something in that submission where I felt like I had a tiny bit of control. And for years, I felt like life was just happening to me and it was like a total spiral. So there was this like, I don't know, it's kind of like eye-opening, like, oh, there's some control. Like I can make things happen in my life. So I think that's what kept me coming back.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
What do you win?
Yeah.
What happened to brought you in?
I
How many times I ask you?
Yeah,
Come in,
I
come
said
in,
that,
come
yeah.
You missed the beginning.
I think the ladies have something for you before we started.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Grab the bag.
You're gonna love it.
So this lovely community of beautiful women.
Oh, no, the pictures you guys did.
Don't
We-
worry. Don't let them see the front. Okay.
We just wanted to bring you into this, but you know, we couldn't have that male energy in the room. We had to let the girls be girls, but we wanted to bring this to you. We just knew
It's beautiful, isn't it?
your life would be just a little bit better
Yeah.
in having this in it.
Yeah.
So-
you probably need to hang it in your house.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Mucho importante.
Thank you.
He's terrified.
He's making the
Look at that
face.
face, right?
No, that's what everyone voted on.
They're like this.
Yeah.
The-
No.
yeah, that was the other one. There was multiple.
There was multiples.
There
and
was a voting process.
the ladies,
It was an anonymous vote.
yeah, they wanted that face.
Thank you.
He's like, okay.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next roll.
No.
You're talking about your first day on the mat.
Yes,
How was that for you, Ashley?
very terrifying.
Go.
But yeah, like I said, I kept coming back because I knew something was there and it was helping.
there's almost like this drive. It's a personality type where you get really uncomfortable, but you also, like you said, you felt the control. There was some control. There was something there, and so it scared you. But in like I need more of this. Like there's something about this discomfort that you sense is gonna trigger some kind of growth, and so you kind of rise to the challenge more than shying away from it, running from it. Although that is also a response. But you fight that internally, and making that choice was probably a big part of what kept you going. That's also your personality.
Definitely. Yeah.
How that it happened for you? Because like when you start was your kid came to training.
Yes. Yes.
And how you step on the mat. How long took to step in there? Now, what do you make you step on the mat?
Well, it was. They were there for at least a year, I think, before I got on the mat. Maybe longer. And like I was saying before you came, like I couldn't even go in the gym most days. It was so bad. Yeah, and you kept saying, "When are you going to train?" And I was like, "This guy's crazy." I was smiling on your head and send my husband to bring the kids. And Melissa too, that she kept asking, "When are you going to come?" And I'm like, "I don't know, probably never." But I got so bad in my life, like I totally hit rock bottom, that I knew I had to do something, and that was the thing that just kept presenting itself. I was already there with the kids. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I can, connect with the kids. It gets, get in shape, that kind of thing. But it ended up being a lot more. My kids don't even train right now, and I still go. It's just became a lot more than that for me.
Was that for your mother?
For me?
Yeah. What?
I chickened out for a year. I did. I was on like this self-healing and growth journey in general, and I knew that I needed something like jujitsu for the growth, but I kept making excuses like I don't have time and I don't this and all that. I was nervous. I look in the windows and I see what they're doing, and I'm like a self-described touch me not, and I just see like all the close contact, and I'm just like, that makes me uncomfortable. Like, but that was part of why I was like, I need to get in there. My specific issue I was trying to work on when I thought jujitsu was the sever between the mind-body connection, and people suggest like yoga for that. But for me, I was really also attracted to the self-defense aspect of jujitsu. And so I came up with excuses for well over a year. The gym had moved by the time I was like, I had this moment of like inspiration. I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going. I'm going to sign up. I wasn't like ready to train that day. I was like, I'm going to sign up today. I'm just going to go do it. Like, just jump in there. And I did. And like, Jake's teaching like closed guard passes or something. And I'm just like watching him in the middle of the room. I'm like, oh, it's so weird, but nobody seems to care. So that's a good thing. And I sign up, and I remember being really uncomfortable the whole time. And the funny thing is I met Ashley almost right away. And Ashley being Ashley, I trained for like a week or two, and she's like, you should come to all levels. And so I go like straight into all levels.
And then you triangled me.
I don't remember that.
I remember. I went to master and I was like, this new white belt just triangled me. What am I doing wrong? And he was like, she's good. She's a quick learner.
My brain has this really cool defense mechanism where it just doesn't store memory when I'm stressed out. So I really don't remember much about like my beginning in jujitsu. I do remember trying to stick with that. Okay, we're not going to dissociate. We're here. We're uncomfortable, but you're the only person who notices. Like, you're the only one who thinks this is weird. And I was just like really coaching myself through it the whole time. And but what I didn't know is how triggering it was going to be for me. There were a lot of things that I thought didn't affect me. And the first time I rolled, I was choked and I freaked out. And
That wasn't me. Oh, it was?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh, crap.
I'm pretty sure you're the first person I rolled with. But once again, like, I don't have memory. Like, I don't have
just helping
vivid
you with your
memory.
growth. That was my plan.
Yeah, also, I'm sure we're very, like, kind about it. But I did not know. I had no idea that that would trigger me so badly. And so I went to the doctor, like, right after that. And he's a Chinese medicine doctor. So he treats with needles. And I had, like, 10,000 needles in my ears just to calm me down. But me freaking out looks a lot different where I really go internal. That's what I was working on, the dissociation. So nobody would know I was freaking out. It's just suddenly I'm just gone and stored no memory and that sort of thing. But yeah, that is easy to be discouraged and say, okay, I can't do this, which is a common response I hear from women. I actually felt it was important to bring up because of how many women I talk to who are interested in jujitsu, but they're like, I think it's going to be too triggering for me, that, you know, this happened to me. And so I can't. And I hear that so often. And then I'm just like, please, like, let me tell you about this because I was the same way. And it very specifically works on that. And it's so common. I actually looked up a statistic, and it's something like 1 in 4 women are survivors of some form of abuse, some sort of physical abuse. And that is an understatement because they also notate in there that it's not usually reported. So that's why I'm like such an advocate for it now. When as soon as someone says, you know, there's a girl who's interested, wants to learn self-defense, but is scared of that, like, that anxiety that comes with the actual physical contact, I'm like, no, you need to hear this. This is important for you. And I'm not like speaking from outside of it. I'm speaking from right here in it. And there is a part of you that has to want to be up for the challenge. And that's where the self-growth comes in because it's easy. And everyone does this, like, oh, I can't do this because of that. Like, this happened to me, so I can't do this. And like, you can't talk to me that way because I had this issue. And you just can't go through your life that way.
Then about what I mentioned about the touch, you know, like, you know, it's like it's different. You know, you're on top of the other person. Trust that you need to have, and then you have the tap off, but you know, to trust in the other person. And with the trust, with the touch, how you guys grown with that from the beginning to train bands and stuff like this?
So one thing to understand about PTSD is that there is a loss of control there. I like an oversimplified way of talking about it is like the thinking and the feeling parts of the brain. When we have PTSD, there is a sever there where those two parts of your brain aren't talking. So trust has to come later because right then your brain actually doesn't know the difference between this safe place you're in with safe people who are helping you and what happened to you in your past.
Right.
It knows no difference, no sense of time. You're in it right now, react. And that's your wiring. That's PTSD. But what you're saying, the trust starts to come as that story ends differently, repeatedly, because you weren't in danger. But
like reclaiming.
Right. Absolutely.
Like when you didn't fight back for yourself in the past. At least that's how it was for me.
Yeah. There's layers and layers. First, there's the neural pathway that, okay, now I'm bringing this old trauma stuck in my body with no sense of time. I'm processing it and I'm moving it into the thinking part of my brain where I'm like, I'm not there right now. And then you're building the self-worth on top of that because now, so if your reaction during a trauma like this is to freeze or fawn, which is so common, it's absolutely terrible to actually help yourself to just freeze. But it's a really common response, especially with women. And now you're doing this training in a safe environment and you're actually learning how to respond and you're learning it in such a depth that it's automatic.
So I'd say exposure before trust.
Yeah.
The more exposure you have, then the trust and the healing starts to come. But it's hard for a long time.
And so it does work as an exposure therapy.
Yeah, definitely.
Very specifically. And that
like corrective emotional experience of this is actually not scary. It's healing. It's not only physically creating the new neural pathways, but you build your self-worth. You know, if I were in this situation again, I'm not gonna react this way, and I'm a person worth protecting. And
yeah, then you start to feel more confident and like life outside of the mat.
Yeah, it definitely carries.
Definitely carries.
Because you have you're repairing that severed connection between thinking and feeling, you know? Yeah, both parts of the brain are necessary. You should react to danger. You do have feelings, but you should also be able to be in some kind of control. And it's not to say that this isn't extremely uncomfortable. We talk about it like it's just an easy thing to do. But what we were doing is repeatedly pushing ourselves to the edge of what we can handle. I saw it in Ashley recently where she got really pushed right to the edge. But she stuck with it, and the professor recognized it. And in walking away strong from what she went through that day in training, she built another neural pathway. She increased her distress intolerance. And
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and when you're in a state of overwhelm, any person is liable to act rashly and things like that. But you can raise the bar on that. Like, how much can you take before suddenly you're out of control? And so you're repeatedly doing that on the mat.
Maybe some thought or connections you guys have, maybe in the lower time, that help you stay training, or maybe you already start thinking quit, but maybe some talk or something that brought you guys in to make, no, I need this. This is I was a good talk today. This was what I need today to keep going.
You start.
Well, I'm trying to think of like a specific situation, but
I just talk too much.
I like it. I like it. Well, I guess, I mean, when I start feeling bad and I have like stopped training, then I start feeling worse. And then Master's always there to be like, just show up. And I'm like, oh, it's not that easy. But then when I do show up, like then I leave and I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit more okay. And it's also like the sense of community too, like not isolating. So when you have people that notice, like when you're not showing up, that makes a big difference too.
The community is huge. And you're in a room full of people who are very sensitive to these things. So it doesn't go unnoticed. The amount of times I've been dissociating on the mat and somebody is snapping their fingers, getting my attention. Master's done it to me.
Like, yo, are you in there?
Yeah. And Master does things like he sees me slouching over and he's like, he'll bump me, like, sit up straight. I shared a photo yesterday on my story because I was so surprised when I looked at it, because I was standing with my shoulders back, which is something that...
Oh, yeah, he always makes me do that too.
It's actually like carried into my life. Because it starts as like, you know, oh, don't want Master to yell at me for my bad posture, but it actually is a good thing, even if you're like faking it, you know,
yeah,
good
you
posture.
feel better. You really do.
Yeah, and you actually start sending the signals in your brain. It actually happens. It's the same as like when you're stressed out, you start belly breathing and you relax your shoulders. It's sending signals to your brain. And so I walk around with more confidence just off of that guy bumping me. Sit up straight.
Or
like,
jabbing you in the eyes.
Okay, I was being kind. But the community, people who just care for you. And if you're coming from a place of not having that, that is healing in itself. Like, I can't say enough about the community of people I've met through jiu-jitsu, and them recognizing when I'm in a bad place, and very recently pulling me out of a very bad place. I don't actually know if I would have the confidence to do what I had to do recently, had I not had all the support from the people in my gym, because I didn't grow up with that. I don't have support from my family. I don't have lifelong friends.
it wasn't until I came to this gym where I really met like the right people. I was surrounding myself in people that were resembling kind of the chaos that I lived in when I was younger. And so that is just reaffirming, like, people hurt you and that's just a part of life. And that's all I knew, which hardened me in a lot of ways. So people at the gym, they're always surprised when they hear me like talk about my identity growing up was this angry, unlovable person. And that's how people knew me. And a lot of people sort of respected me for it, but I was miserable. And when I talk to people about the gym, at the gym about this, they're just like, you? Because I'm like the bubbliest, like loving person at this gym. But in a lot of ways, it pulled that from me. It pulled the best from me because I recognized I was surrounded in people that wanted the best for me. They weren't there to hurt me. They weren't. Yeah. And it's been huge. And I had to let that part of me, like, it's there. Like, I am an angry person and I know that, but you can transform your pain and use it for the betterment of yourself and even people around you. I'm fiercely protective of the girls at the gym. And I am a person who speaks up. And like this morning, actually, I got robbed this morning. Seriously.
She did.
I did. And so I woke up angry. Like, I was just filled with anger. I was like, doesn't this person know? Like, I'm struggling. I'm checking my bank accounts because my cards are gone. And I'm like, when my mortgage drops, I got $200 in my bank account and I just lost my purse and some other things. And like the nerve of this person to just come and steal from me. And then I have to go straight into church and I'm like yelling the songs and I'm in there singing and I'm like the loudest one in there. And then I'm like convicted in church because then I remember you used to be a thief. And it was because you were scared. You were scared you couldn't make ends meet. So this same person today that all of a sudden I'm full of this fear of how am I going to make ends meet is I was literally stolen by someone who very well could have been the same thing. I was convicted this morning. And so you turn that anger around and you're just like, well, I hope they get saved too. And I know like the way that my community at the gym pulled me out of it, like I just have to trust it's going to be okay. Because I didn't think I was going to get to where I was. I had Ashley said something I carried with me the whole time. She said, God doesn't tell you to jump if he's not giving you a place to land. And so you sit with that discomfort. Like it's okay to have feelings, but jiu-jitsu really raises the bar on the amount of discomfort you can sit with. And just take it, without numbing. That's the culture we live in,
Yeah.
You're uncomfortable, have a drink, numb your brain in some way. Go out, entertain yourself, distract yourself.
Your phone for 10 hours.
Exactly. Oh man, yeah, I have to watch myself with that one. So
I have timers now. So.
I just have this like little voice in my head that's like, hey, it's been 5 minutes, put it down. But that's the go-to.
You too, because when you came to the gym, I see the change. The way it was quiet, now you kind of not loud, but you're more.
I'm getting there, okay?
Yeah.
The fact that I'm here talking is huge. I mean, to even just address mental health with somebody, even one-on-one, was like terrifying. So that's just huge progress in itself,
In the community for you, Russian, how was that view?
Oh, it's great. Oh, the first day? The first day was great. We just had Carly and Melissa. I think there wasn't hardly that many females, but they were super welcoming and Master was super helpful. Like I had talked to him before about like the issues I had, I should say, with starting training and stuff. And then as I went on my journey, like more girls joined, and it was really important for me to like start connecting with these girls and like creating a group and a community. So I think what we have is like really special. We have
my gosh,
huge group of girls now. I mean, it's
didn't see, but
yeah, and that's maybe half.
And that's not everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody couldn't make it to that. So, and I think that's important. Is like when a new girl joins, is for them to connect with somebody, because at first, when I wasn't like speaking up or connecting, and it was just like a couple females, like I would see people come and leave and come and leave. And I was like, oh, well, they're probably leaving because they don't feel connected, or they're scared and they don't know how to like tell somebody what they're going through. But now it's like we have so many girls, we just suck them all in, and we're just like a whole family.
Please show. Sure.
Yeah. Well.
Second. Assuming. Oh, Master, you're fantastic. You're beautiful.
I know.
And so,
It's
one thing we talk about too is like, you know, a lot of jiu-jitsu and you start changing your mindset. Then we always talk about whatever you're learning, use right away to help others.
yes.
Wait to go, because a lot of people are like, oh, man, just this blue belt, and when I went to get my black belt, I'm going to start doing something. No, so you start feeling the transformation, like help others that we talked a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like that's scary in itself, because you're like, you haven't like arrived yet, but you're still, you want to help these other people, and you don't know like if you know enough jiu-jitsu or you're far enough in your journey to like be beneficial to these people. But it's not just about like the moves that it's more about connection for sure. Like we started that little drilling group with, I think that helped get a lot of the women in.
Yeah.
That Friday night drilling group.
Yeah, because it's nice to have women together. No, women alone and men alone are a different animal than when everyone's intermixed in. And women just being able to have the time to just be themselves, which women are generally like more on the creative side, and there's a lot more laughing in their play. Men play too, but it doesn't look the same. And
well,
there's like a kind of a mixed culture where that's not exactly accepted, the giggling side of women, but it's so important for them too. And it's not to say that we don't also like train hard, and my friends don't try to like smash my face into the mat, but but there's also laughing. There's so much love in there. And Ashley started this drilling group, and it really brought us all closer, because then, there's no real formal class. We can kind of talk, and we're less afraid to ask questions. We're not thinking we're going to feel dumb or whatever. And then at the end, there was always like a goofy photo that really helped with the camaraderie. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was great. And then actually, more recently, Ashley and I started a Bible study group. And I don't think either of us would have had the confidence to try to lead a group.
Absolutely. I mean, lead a group? I couldn't even probably attend a group.
Yeah, we just like lean on each other now. Like both of us, it's like we know what we need to do, but we kind of like look at each other a little bit for the strength to do it. Yeah. Like if you say yes, I'll say yes.
We push each other to be better.
Yeah.
Not just in jiu-jitsu, but in life.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, because I don't know if I've ever had a friend like that.
Yeah.
And that was jiu-jitsu too. The idea is like you need each other to grow. We always say growing, getting better, and then it's like not just inside the mat, outside the mat as well. Like more important for us is building a character, and the person they're going to be. For us, more important to be a black belt outside the mat than inside the mat. The way you treat people, the way you're dealing with stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how much jiu-jitsu like can change your life outside the mat. Like, I mean, I've played other sports and it's just not like that. Like, it's even just from like being able to think when you're under pressure or under stress. I mean, that was a big thing for me, was like learning to breathe when I'm uncomfortable and not just like freaking out. Yeah.
You're teaching your brain to problem solve when you're in distress instead of lock up, or on the flip side, you could just be very reactive. You could be a really angry person. You can, it just depends on the person and their personality, but instead you encounter, say, whether it's danger or just like perceived danger, your first thought is problem solve. And you'll take the time to come up with a solution, because same in jiu-jitsu, this is why it teaches you. If you just, see red and you just sit there and try to fight like you're
you're gonna lose. There's strategy
Mhm.
to it. It's a mind game, and so is life.
Yeah. And it forces you to be present.
Yeah.
That's the thing about jujitsu is that like you kind of have to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
I
have to
think
stay in
that's
your
part of the
body.
reason why I stayed too.
Yeah.
Because I was like, when you're like rolling or, you know, fighting with somebody, you can't be somewhere else
Mhm.
in your head. So it forced me to be in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. If you dissociate mid-roll.
It's one thing that helped during this process too. You have the tap. Something
Yes.
really south, you tap, then you kind of, oh, can I rest? Or no, I think the tap, like it gives you this tool to grow, because you know if you got it really bad, you can't tap, and then okay,
Uh-huh.
and relax, start over.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there is a time period where you have to learn to tap too. I recognize it in other women when I'm rolling with them, because they get caught up in this like trying to be tough. And I can sense when they're starting to hyperventilate, when they're starting to panic and things like that. And me being sensitive to that, I will start changing how I'm rolling. Sometimes it gets so bad that I'll use like a cue, because I treat people like I needed, you know, and so I notice someone's panicking and they're, let's say, on bottom, and I'll just say one thing like, get your knees in, and then they'll click. And that was the moment. That was the neural pathway. They'll click. Knees will come in, they put their guard up, and then they remember a sweep, and they do the sweep, and then they're on top, and then, you know, they're back online. But I sensed when they checked out, and there's a lot of women who are really sensitive to that. There's men too, but it's women just tend to be more in tune in general.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now let's talk about tournaments. The first tournament, the Pan Ams this year for Ashley. First tournament first. Let's start from there.
The very first one?
Yeah. Yeah. Brussels, right?
Yes. I mean, it was terrible. I just went out there and I just completely froze.
I watched you step on the mat.
But I did get on the mat. Yeah. I did get out there, but I did not do anything.
But after that, what was that? What you felt after step on the mat? Like, you know, be able to go there, do that, it's a back, you're feeling, oh, I'm able to. What did they take away?
I had multiple takeaways. I feel like at first I was disappointed because I thought that I was better prepared. But after I talked to you and after, you know, I had thought about it and prayed about it and stuff, I realized that it was actually a huge step of progress. So that's what gave me the courage to sign up again. So,
What was your first tournament experience?
yours was good.
So my first tournament, I didn't completely freeze, but I was really struggling to recall anything, which is once again common response when you're under stress. But I remembered enough, and I would come to every once in a while and do something. I ended up winning, but I feel like it had a lot to do with how tired the girl was going in, and but those times of anxiety, like anxiety isn't bad. Like the optimal amount of anxiety is not 0. You can feel the growth when you face it in that way. And so yeah, it scared me, but then I was like, I need that. I competed a lot as a white belt.
Yeah.
Pan Am experience this year, like we have a week of pushing, talking, communicating.
Yeah. Let's see. I signed up and then I decided I wasn't going to do it. And then you told me that I wasn't facing my fears. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's right. So then I decided I was going to do it.
And decided I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah. There is a whole process. I was probably texting you during this process.
Oh yeah, the whole
too.
time. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not doing
I'm
it,
not doing it.
guys. I'm
And
not doing
everyone's
it.
like, wait, you're not doing pants? No, you are doing pants. I'm like, it was bad.
because it's a huge tournament and I was terrified that I was going to like freak out, which I kind of did. But anyways, I got there and then I didn't want to get out of the car.
Say, where are you?
Like, I'm in my car.
Doing what?
Hiding, even though I'm here. It was so bad because you were there.
Yeah.
And me and Master were walking.
See. Oh, talk for what, half an hour?
Yeah, we did sit up and
talking for half an hour. The whole time was.
Yes.
Well, I just showed up because Ashley had this like, guys, don't come just to watch me. Like, don't, like, it's not worth it. Don't come. And so I didn't want to tell her because I can relate to that like added pressure of feeling like someone's showing up just for me. And no, she's like, it's not worth it. Don't come. So I just showed up. And I'm standing.
I was so out of it.
I was looking for you guys and I see her and I'm standing up on something. So I'm like a couple feet up in the air and I jumped down and like purposely ran square into her. Like,
and I didn't even notice.
No idea. She just kept walking and I was like
I felt it. I remember feeling it and I was so like out of it.
Yeah.
Like, I just kept walking and you're like, hello. Like, I just pushed
No, I just walked behind you guys. I was like, oh, it's bad. Like, I just stood behind Master after that. I was like, and then she turns around and she's like, when did you get here?
Yeah.
But there's actually this really cool moment while Ashley was rolling. I had a long lens camera. I was taking pictures of her. So I actually have this photo of this moment. You can tell she's kind of checked out. Like, she's moving, but she's kind of checked out. And Master's yelling and yelling and yelling. And the opponent did something, like I want to say attempted a submission or something. And suddenly Ashley like comes to. And you just see her eyes get really big. And she looks over at Master. Master's yelling over the boundary. And she's just there all of a sudden. And I have a photo of that moment where she turned and like locked eyes on Master.
What? I want to see it.
I've showed it to you before.
I forgot.
But it just like, I had chills. I definitely cried a little bit on the sidelines, but it was so cool. And then all of a sudden Ashley's here. Ashley's actually fighting now. Ashley just won her match.
I just did the first match though.
Yeah, then everybody know was that the idea we talked after was the idea of that tournament for you.
Yes. Yeah. And it was a huge step in progress because
that moment where you came back, that's something that talk therapy can never do. Those fight or flight parts of your brain were completely activated and you were checked out and you came back.
Yeah.
So now that bar is higher. It would take more to get you back into that state. You competed so many times after that.
Yeah. I don't know how many times.
You were just on a mission. I was like, Ashley's competing again.
Yeah, I did a lot. And we're about to get back to it.
Yes.
And like the good thing there is like, like we see, like we almost not getting in, not stepping on the stops. We sitting there, open, it was a chaos. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't remember anything. It's like, just go there. Just one, you step on the mat.
Yeah.
And that's it. Whatever happened there, just one, you step on the mat. And then you came to the victory. And there's like after you went outside, and you're breathing, how would I do them? No. Came here to do the mission is done. Go enjoy the time there now.
Yeah, I was ready after I calmed down. I was like, oh, I did it. I think I can do it again. Yeah.
So what's the next? You guys talk about next.
We're gonna do Tampa. But we might do we're gonna do some other ones to get ready for Tampa.
Yeah.
So Tampa's November. Right?
Right. And then now it's like I think maybe some message, like for women that you guys say a lot of women come, doesn't know if we're gonna do it. Like message like to inspire them to step on the mat or what they're gonna expect and how they can overcome, like just a little journey from what your perspective to them to help them step on the mat and have this life change.
Oh. I mean, well, I'd say that just the first step on the mat is important in choosing yourself, like in a world that you maybe haven't been choosing yourself for so many years. So instead of like overthinking everything, just take the first step. And then from there, it's just, you know, one step, 1 minute, 1 day at a time. And then you're going to start seeing the growth. But if you're like overthinking it, then you might prevent yourself from ever making that first step.
Yeah, you definitely, it's once again, it's not to say that it's easy.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
It's not easy, but you have to make the choice. And jiu-jitsu in itself teaches you to get comfortable with that discomfort, you know, to fight out of bad positions and not just give up or run away, quit, and all the things. Being intimidated to join a gym. I mean, if you're our gym specifically, like, come to us. Come to people who perhaps came from where you came from, that experience what you experienced, to help walk you through it. If you don't have that, just have a support system, but do it, because you'll be stuck. You'll be stuck in like this rut of, I always talk about, like, you're going to be like right here, you have this midline, but if you could get past some of these traumas that are preventing you from stepping into a sport like jiu-jitsu, you're going to go from here, you're going to have this, you know, you can't have high peaks without deep valleys. I love that saying, because you're going to go to some dark places, but it's going to unlock so much more for you, and it's just going to build. And it just continues to get better and better. I did think of quitting a few times.
Same.
Yeah. Usually I remember praying so many times. I was like, God, if I'm not supposed to be here, can you show me in a way that's not an injury? Because there's so many times where I was just like, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. But every time it was reaffirmed, it was like, stay. Okay. I almost quit once when somebody screamed at me, and my self-worth just like went through the floor. I was like, yeah, just screaming and cussing at me. And I was just like, oh, like, I'm a bad person. People don't want me here. Yeah. But the community came together, and they all checked on me, and they're like, you know, you didn't do anything wrong. This was a triggered person.
Yeah.
And then you like saw compassion for that person.
Yeah, I did.
You were
Yeah.
able to see the other, like, where she was coming from.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I remembered seeing it in her eyes. Like, I had this second of like fear, when I saw like this anger fire up in her eyes, and I realized it was like, she was triggered. But you know, if you don't deal with your pain, you're going to transmit your pain. And that's a possibility even in jiu-jitsu. But you're in the right environment to grow yourself, and you're also helping the people around you grow the same. They're going through it too. That's something I have to remember.
Learn to deal with the emotions, right? It's kind of...
Yeah, you're learning to be in control of them, completely in control of your emotions.
In actually, we a couple weeks ago, we talked about the book, you know, jiu-jitsu, and want to talk a little bit about the book?
Master. Wait, my book? Oh.
The book you recommended.
Oh, yes. Okay. I was like, geez. Transforming Trauma with Jiu-Jitsu. It's a great book. And did you finish it? It's really good for instructors too, because it helps them like see the perspective of it. I read it when probably shortly after I first started. You recently read it. So then I was like, oh, I need to reread that. But it goes into like the details of, you know, what somebody who's been through trauma would experience and how it's beneficial. Jiu-jitsu is beneficial for them, but then also how to come alongside those people as well. It's really informative.
Yeah, it's good for the person's training. It's good for the instructors, you know, to understand. You know, because like sometimes we say, just go for it. You know, like, if you don't know, like that learning that is not just go for it. Have all the talks that need to be involved to be able to get out of the person, go to the next step.
Yes, yeah. There's this no pain, no gain kind of mentality that there's a time and place for it, but if
when it comes from trauma, it's different.
It is different, yeah. And when I was pushing too hard, when I was overwhelmed, I had that complete like nervous system crash, and my health was awful because of it, because I wasn't addressing the trauma. And it's really easy to accidentally push somebody through that who's dealing with that trauma and overwhelm at the same time that they're training. So it's just something to be aware of, as
even as a teammate, but more so as an instructor, that no pain, no gain doesn't work on somebody who's also working through something at the same time. You want them to keep coming to the gym. And so you give them space. You encourage them to train, you know, but you also give them the spaces or working something out.
Yeah, like that a couple months ago, we had a conversation that kind of ask you to slow down on the training, you know, be special for couple training partners. Like, oh, that's important to have the communication between instructor and student to be able to, you know, make sure you can accommodate, you know, the person for a little while. Then, okay, now you can step back and just, oh, now I'm okay with.
Yeah, and you kind of facilitated this, this like comfort of being able, like, everyone respects you, but we also feel comfortable to come to you at the end of class and tell you what's going on, so that, you know, because if you don't speak up for yourself, you wouldn't know that I needed the space. But you had the ability through the whole thing. It's not like I needed somebody to like hug me. I just needed some space. And you did that for me. And it was you know, it wasn't requiring a lot of effort from you, but it was so important for me. Otherwise, I would have had to quit training. Like, if you kept pushing me and kept putting me with people who were, you know, overly aggressive and angry, that probably would have made me distance myself from the gym. So having trauma-informed instructors is huge.
And it's sometimes like that, I know the therapists, but maybe they don't understand jiu-jitsu, and then I think they told her to stop training. And then say, no, I need training.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's actually true. It's written about in that book, actually, that how important it is that training is activating parts of your brain associated with trauma, and all of the rewriting that we've been talking about, that talk therapy will never reach. Now, my therapist very much encourages it. She specializes in PTSD, and she encourages it to, like, keep going. You know your limits. Stay with your people. And she never had a bad word to say about jiu-jitsu. And even my neurologist, which you wouldn't think of a neurologist, it wasn't to make money. My neurologist was encouraging staying in jiu-jitsu and martial arts in general, because he sees a huge improvement in people who train regularly, and he himself trained.
Awesome. Any other experience or something that during the journey you guys have in the gym that can give somebody hope, or give somebody direction, or give somebody to stick with? No.
Do you want me to tell the story?
Yep.
So I had actual experience outside of the gym since I had been training. And while it's unfortunate to still have these things around in my life, it's also so encouraging to see how I reacted after training. And so I actually was attacked by somebody, and they were choking me with a liquor bottle. And I was in control of the situation. I can't speak on it too much without accidentally revealing identities of people, but there was two possibilities. Either I could have froze, or I could have recognized that I could hurt this person and react accordingly. But what ended up actually happening was not perceiving a threat. You know, initially there's a threat, and I immediately I didn't dissociate. I stayed online, and I recognized there was no real threat there, and the problem kind of took care of itself. And without jiu-jitsu, there would have been a huge reaction from me. I could have been hurt, or I could have hurt the other person, just depend on what direction that I went with it. And instead, I was the rock for everyone else that was having to experience this, because I was actually standing up for somebody else when this happened. And with that training of there's danger, problem solve, versus there's danger, like freeze, run, do something, that I had the actual training, not only very specific in how to handle somebody who's choking you, but also like staying embodied, staying present, and thinking through your problems.
I walked away with that. You know, you still have to process the fact that someone just attacked you, but otherwise completely unharmed. And I completely attribute that to my training in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey.
I'd just say that it's 100% worth it to get on the mat. I mean, it's changed my life forever. There's been more times than I can count on one hand that I've almost like gone back to where I was and into even kind of recently like worse places, but because of jiu-jitsu, it was like something that would set me back for years before or months of like hard times. It sets me back like a couple days, and then I'm back on the mat and I'm back like to bettering myself. So it's kind of crazy how jiu-jitsu does that, you know? So it's worth it. Yeah.
Any other thing? Any other story that you want to share?
Have I shared stories that you're thinking of?
Everyone.
I know. I'm like, I don't know what story specifically. So
You can maybe go to the back of the on the mat for advertising this. Was funny.
Which one?
oh,
Which one?
our promo,
The little clip. What is that?
our promo video. We tried really hard.
Oh, we were trying. That was us being serious.
We were trying to be very serious.
Oh yeah.
It was so funny.
No, we tried.
We were. The problem is, I was
thing is-
looking at her face on the
And I
phone
was
the
looking
whole
at
time.
her face.
And then I look at the video afterwards and I see my face and I'm like, why did I keep doing that? I'm
And
like,
the fan was like blowing our hair.
oh my gosh, it was so funny.
It was awesome.
I'm a supermodel,
was
but
gonna be
most of my hair's been
serious.
ripped
It
out by
was.
jujitsu.
It was going to be like motivational and serious, but then like we couldn't.
Well, she made me
we did
introduce
it
myself, and I kept thinking of that reel, like, I'm Amanda. I'm Amanda.
We
Salamanda.
That's right. And then we had to go. We did it after drilling, and then we had to go back.
Yeah,
to light.
and
So
she didn't tell me, so I was like, I forgot my belt. I was wearing a white belt. I was wearing a purple rash guard.
and
I was wearing a choker.
Hey, I had a hoodie on.
She had a hoodie on, but you knew.
Yeah,
You had
no.
choice. I had no
I remembered when I
choices.
walked to the gym that I wanted to do that. So I wasn't prepared, but
Yeah, that's part of the
that's
like
why it was so.
when girls are
perfect.
together, girls are being girls. Like there's
Same with
yeah, we act different, and it's that's been studied too. Like a group of men, put one woman in the room, and that whole group of men will act different. They study these things, but they also do a lot of studies on like meaningful play, which is what jujitsu is. It's play. Men just look different when they play than when women do. There's also studies, for the record, on laughing. There's studies on laughing between, so they studied people who are weightlifting, and they showed that they were like having these people laugh in between sets and comparing them to someone who's just working out.
Anthony is the guy for that.
Yes. So if you
I've
laugh,
never laughed while I'm weightlifting. Like if anything,
I
I've
do. Oh my
cried.
gosh.
I
I've
laugh
cried,
at
yeah.
jujitsu all the time
Yeah.
because it's funny and it's fun.
But they proved you actually recover quicker. Your
Huh.
cardiovascular health
I'll have to
improves.
try
and
that tomorrow.
and they showed that their performance.
together.
Oh,
I don't know
I
when
might
I roll and I
not
don't
ever
laugh.
get any lifting done.
I'm always laughing when I'm rolling because it's usually like, that was stupid. I've been rolling with
Or it's just
Melissa and I'm
funny,
like
yeah.
in a bow and arrow, like that escape didn't work.
Oh, we almost have 1 hour do the talking.
Now we
still
have to dance.
Now we dance?
More. No, we don't need to dance. This is for TikTok.
Are you sure?
No, please don't. Thank you.
That's good. I don't know how to dance.
He's like, please stop.
He's
oh,
like, stop.
Master has great dance
Oh,
skills.
yeah.
He comes to the gym after he wins a tournament.
I just want to say thank you so much.
Can I do the intro video? I see the between there and do the intro.
Oh, I think I have enough for the intro.
No, we're going to say not to talk about share and stuff like this too.
No, we did.
We had like 4
The thing
tenths
is,
at
you
it.
were
so-
No, we
late to
did
your
10
own
and 10.
podcast.
Yeah, you were late.
Yeah, because he asked me to bring the fan. That was why it's late.
And I said
Oh.
9:30.
Yeah, but again at the gym, we need to put the water out, have other stuff we need to do. And then the agent asked for it.
But don't worry, guys. We have enough. We can thank you guys enough for sharing stories with us. I know it's massive. I know it's tough. But I think it was fun.
No, it's not that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
Oh,
It was kind of bad.
I more so have to keep myself
Amanda's
quiet.
really
I
good
just
at talking, so
like I get in groups,
yeah. See,
and I'm just like, shh.
no, I'm like, that's why I hang out with her, because she can do all the talking, and she's saying what I'm thinking.
That's
so
black and white.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the Bible study. Or
Yeah.
no, when we started the drilling,
Oh yeah, that was.
and I was like,
she's like, I don't want to lead a
I
class.
was like, you're gonna be my Aaron,
Yeah.
because in the Bible, Aaron speaks for
Yeah.
Moses.
Well, what that is it's transformed anger. That's what I eventually learned, is that you can take something unproductive like anger. I mean, it's not always unproductive to be angry, but you can transform that into something. And for me, it made me very outspoken. And I was not an outspoken person growing up. This was me taking something that like very much is a huge part of my life and turning it into something very productive. And so I speak
And then it benefits
a lot.
me too. So
And it benefits
high
her.
five.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies. It was awesome. Thank you. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yay!
I'll take the water now.
It's in there.
See, it wasn't that bad.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I got excited.
See, like it wasn't that bad. It's like,
I'm not gonna listen to it.